What is happening? Welcome to another episode of The Craft. My name is Nick Pollock, and we are turning a new leaf. It is now July. I would talk about June Wrigley. Well, it's over, but we got to talk about a little bit, and there might be other things outside of the weather that could be affecting the game. I saw this amazing graphic, everyone, about the drag of the baseball all of a sudden being less and less and less. And I thought to myself, wait, didn't someone just put out a really good article about this? So I picked up the phone and I called up Evan Drelich and I was like, yo,
and we couldn't get him. He was busy.
we got him. So we got Enos there as also part of that article. Enos, it's great to see you, man.
Well done. Well done. Yeah. No, I mean, the drag is down. And what's weird about the drag graph or just the drag in general is that, yes, there is ball to ball variation because it's a handmade thing and, duh. But, it generally has been since they acquired Rawlings. They're a partial owner of Rawlings. MLB is. Since that has happened, it's generally been about the same. We've got humidors in every park. They've figured out how to create and store balls and keep them normal. And then this year, drag started out just like it was last year, and then in June it is just gone. And the graph is just really striking. And the last time that we had a drag coefficient this low that we've had in June was 2019, and 2019 was shivers just went down your spine.
Yeah. So guys, we're not bad fantasy baseball analysts, okay?
Just the year of the home run
are allowing more home runs, and we can't control that. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're still smart. We still know
it. So I mean, it is tough also because even as you look at that thing go down, there's more variance on the ball than usual. So game to game, you don't know what you're going to get. And what we got from pitchers was, yes, the ball to ball variability is worse than ever. We got, they're throwing out more balls. The catchers are than ever before, and the pitchers before they even, use them.
Oh, what are they looking for when they do that?
Well, apparently splotches, because baseball has a splotchy ball problem, and they admitted it to the players in February. What they discovered when they unpacked the balls that had been made in Costa Rica over the offseason, when they unpacked the near 1 million balls they had to make for the course of the season, they found splotches, yellow mineral oil that had been used too heavily in one part of the process had seeped through the yarn and into the leather. And so they had yellow splotches on the balls. And we were
I saw one of these and I was like, I didn't see it as a splotch. I just saw it as my two parents fighting.
It's a Rorschach joke, really? Okay, so anyway. I mean, with mudding and stuff, you don't it's not so obvious, you wouldn't see it necessarily on the screen, but I was talking to people and they're like, oh yeah, the splotchy ball problem, I've heard of that. But there was a failure of communication because they did try to send an email out to the players. They did it through an app. Maybe not everyone had downloaded the app yet, so a lot of players hadn't heard about it. I talked to a bunch of front office people. They hadn't heard about it, but we did in the end find a memo that said, yeah, there was this manufacturing problem. We're trying to do something. It affects 50% of the balls at least that are out there, and there's nothing we can do about it because we're making next year's balls right now. So you can't just throw away these balls and use next year's balls, because what do we do next? You know what I mean? So it's they said
years after ball. That's all.
Yeah.
We just
they said that because of those lead times, we won't get the new ball until late this year sometime, if at all. And if they do that, we won't know. They're not going to tell us, oh yeah, we're working on the new balls now. So there is some part of this is visibility and accountability that is not great, because they're oh yeah, we're being totally visible. Yeah, when you got caught.
Right. So I guess my question then is, did this affect all of the balls across the entire season, or is it just the ones recently?
I know that is the worst part about this all, that I can't point the finger at baseball and say, oh, you screwed up the manufacturing. This is what the drag is, because April and May drag was pretty much normal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's June drag that's crazy. So my hypothesis, and I have to be clear to say this is an hypothesis, is just that there's something to do with heat and storage and time that has actually made the oil into an issue in
Mm,
June when it wasn't an issue in April and May. So just as sort
yeah.
of an idea is like, let's say you take it out of the humidor, and in the past it was cold enough that most of the oil stayed inside the ball, but now it's warm enough so more of it seeps out.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So just hmm. I just want to make sure everyone understands here. When we talk about drag on the ball, I remember that drag on the ball is just like air resistance against it. So the more drag there is, the less distance it'll have. So
yeah,
you have
and
less drag
usually
on
we
it.
think about it with seam
Yeah,
height, right? So
right.
like if you have high seams, you get a lot of movement on the pitches, and then when it's hit in the air, a high seam resists the air more and more
Yeah,
drag
exactly.
and doesn't go as
Yeah,
far.
right.
Um,
So
so
having less of it means it's kind of like turning into cores, right? There's less. That's why those go further. Is just that it's thinner air, and that means there's less drag in general in cores, right?
ooh,
So
I
yeah,
just thought of
please.
I thought of a theory that kind of links them, because what
Oh,
is weird is that they said, "Oh, we tested these balls and the seam height of these balls is the same," right?
sure.
But you're testing balls, maybe you just take them out of the humidor and you test them, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, you're in the actual game, you take them out, you take a batch out for the game, and they sit somewhere before you start playing, right?
Mhm.
And they sit in the umpire's pocket. So let's say the ball seeps out and there's some in the yarn, and the seams are higher on the splotchier balls. And let's say
Okay.
you're the catcher and you see a splotchy ball, gone. So what's left are the tighter wound ones, maybe. The
Oh,
low
that's
drag
interesting.
ones
But then
are
would
the
that be
ones that aren't
drag
being
though?
kicked out of games.
But would we be seeing the drag drop through that? Is it like, are we just calculating drag by distance?
Like what I'm saying is basically we're selecting for the lowest drag balls
Oh, I
by
see. Oh, right. Of course.
by
Duh, right. I got
getting
it.
rid
See,
of the
this is why I had to
splotchy
say
balls.
it because I got reversed again in my head.
Yeah,
And
lower
but
drag means more homers, but
why would
it's
they be selecting for that though?
well, yeah, a pitcher would not, but let's say it's a splotchy ball and it's oily, like maybe you don't want an oily
Um,
ball,
I
like you
see.
don't, then it's
Well,
like you
okay.
can't grip your breaking ball, right?
So I
So we
guess
are seeing some results in play, but
right.
drag is weather, altitude, like that's a really rock solid
Mhm.
calculation. When I say to you that like batted balls and domes are up 8 feet from May to June, and that's the
Right.
biggest 1 year, 1 month increase in the Statcast history, like that still has noise in it because of who like specifically what barrels were hit and were they
Sure.
pulled or were they oppo
Yeah.
or whatever,
Mhm.
but drag is like is a rock solid number that we have that is just going wild right now, and it's going in the direction of 2019, so hold
That's
on to
scary.
your horses.
And and I do also want to think about this with so also inside of that image where you have the drag, I just want to note that you have these data points. Are those days of the drag? Are those a certain number of different ones? How does that work exactly?
Each day the drag is averaged out, and then they represent on that chart the day's drag. And if
Okay.
you think, if you look at the side and you say, it's a 0.01 difference. 0.01 difference in drag equals 5 feet on a ball hit more than 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I mean,
So yeah,
5 feet,
I do like your hypothesis of the hotter weather is making the oil more apparent when they hold it.
something like
Uh,
that. I don't
and
know.
that makes a lot of sense. And what I am now thinking is, hey, let's get 30 catchers on the line. Let's get all of them and say, guys, if you get the oily thing, don't throw it away.
You're right. Yeah, I might have
Please.
high
You're
drag.
you're hurting me. If you do that, I would absolutely all you need is one player from every team, one pitcher to tell the guys like, dude, this is what's going on. Read this thing. And I wouldn't be surprised, actually, you by putting out this article might have fixed it. We might
Well,
see like a giant leap the other way now because everyone's going to be selecting those balls.
it would be weird. But then if they are actually oily, like you were a pitcher, like if you were trying to throw an oily ball, like it would be bad for your breaking balls, right? It would be
I
bad for
mean,
most of
they
your pitches,
spat
wouldn't
on
it?
the ball, They had to ban that.
That's like just for changeups, though. Like for your fastball, like your command would go down, your breaking balls would be
How
worse,
oily are you
right?
talking about?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You know, they look, the way I think about it is if it's an oily ball, then you also have the suntan lotion rosin whole thing too, right?
Well, they gotta make that legal then.
Well, you just get a lot of rosin on your hand. You're good, and the oil in it should be fine.
Now you got
I
a real
would
gunked out
think,
ball.
yeah, that's wild. Well, okay, so how is this affecting pitchers then? Because obviously in June, we expect everyone across the board now to be allowing all the home runs.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's the direction it's going. It seems really bad, and I'm afraid. I'm afraid because we set an expectation of like this kind of drag, and now it's
Yeah,
changing.
yeah,
And so, you have these pitchers on your team that you're like, this is cool, right? And I think so what I did was I fed into Claude, um, using my Stuff Plus numbers. Stuff Plus spits out an expected home run rate, actually. So we have an
yeah.
expected home run rate, based on your Stuff Plus. And then we had an actual home run rate. And I said, Claude, like, make each of these percentiles, compare them, and find the pitchers that have overperformed their expected home run rate according to Stuff Plus the most. And I used pitchers with like something like 60, 70 innings. So like,
Okay.
these are good sample pitchers. We're not talking about tiny sample pitchers. I want to give you the chance to pick some of the biggest overperformers of their Stuff Plus expected home run rate.
Well,
And
I mean, there's
number
one that
one,
comes to mind because we did this last week, everyone. We really looked at the home run rates and we looked at who had like none. And I just remember the guy that I've been just blowing, I don't know, it's just blowing my mind how good he's been. He's on the IL now, but Ben Brown, I
yeah.
would think, because he was like a 0 home run rate.
Yeah, so he's in the first percentile, but for what it's worth, his stuff likes him, and
Sure.
his stuff expected percentile is 63rd. So like, it's not, per 100 pitches he's supposed to give up 0.7 homers. So like,
Mm.
that's not bad. Like he's one of those ones where like he's underperforming because he's been so good so far. But then if you
Right.
look at the other side, you're like, oh well, he's not bad. There are other ones.
I mean,
Where
the second
the,
one is someone who probably just got all the regression today. Because last time I checked, he'd already allowed 9 earned runs and multiple home runs. It's Walker Buehler.
yes, he is
Oh,
on
it is.
there.
Okay.
Brown is 4. Walker
Okay.
Buehler is 8.
Oh, 8. Oh, 8.
Yeah.
I thought I got 1 there. Okay. All right. Give me a division.
AL Central's got number 1 and number 2. And number 3.
AL Central has number 1, number 2. Okay, it's got to be like
And number 3.
Tanner Bybee.
Nope.
No, wrong team then. Okay. We're gonna go with the White Sox then. We're gonna go with Davis Martin.
Number 3. He's
Okay.
7th
Sean
so
Burke?
far, 69th going forward. Nope.
Sean Burke.
No more White Sox.
No more White Sox. Oh. What? Troy Melton?
Nope.
No. Who do you got?
There
What
is-
is it? Hit me.
Casey Mize is number 1.
Oh, but the thing is, I love Casey Mize now.
Yeah, well,
Love
he's got a
Casey
6th percentile home run rate so far, and he's
Oh.
80th. 80th, he's supposed to have 80th. And here, 80th is bad, so that'd be 20th, but whatever. 80th percentile going forward.
Wow.
Michael Wacha is 23rd percentile right now. He's supposed to be
yeah.
93rd going forward. But Michael Wacha is also one of these guys that stuff has just never loved, man.
Kitchen sink,
Stuff is-
man.
Yeah.
That's how it is. I mean, it's also it's not just kitchen sink, it's change up kitchen sink.
So talk me off the ledge with Mize, because I'm actually expecting a fairly aggressive regression, and there are people talking about, would he be a great acquisition at the trade deadline, and so there's a lot of talk about Mize, but I think some of this is just a lucky home run
Okay, I
rate.
mean, at the very bottom level, which I can't believe I'm doing this right now. Do you realize how good of a season he's had, even with like the home run stuff? Like it's like a
I own some shares.
104 whip or something, like
97 whip.
27% K rate.
Yeah.
I mean, this is including the 10 strikeout game against the Yankees. And by the way, why are they not giving them all these balls? I don't understand. It's like the opposite of Aaron Judge. But no, I'm just kidding about that one. But with Casey Mize, the number one thing over the years that I've just been like, he's not going to work until this happens, It's not the four seamer. The four seamer has been fine. It's not really actually as exceptional as it used to be, but we're at 18 inches, 19 inches of vert now. That's okay. We've got the with his arm angle, and we have a splitter that's always been like, oh, the splitter, sure. But when I saw Casey Mize's MLB debut, I was most impressed by what I call the golden cutter, which was this 89 mile per hour, 88 strike pitch that he could just throw at any time. And that's back in the day when I used to do gift breakdowns for debuts. Back in the day, I'd write an article.
Yeah, like according to StatCast, he hasn't thrown that pitch since.
Well, the slider though is now the cutter. So he didn't really have a very good slider last year. It was kind of a work in progress. We're really hoping to find one. He found a legitimate slider finally this year. It's really been there for, I want to say, like 2 months now. And the injuries have been so frustrating because he finally had it and then he would be out. And then he came back for 3 games and he'd be out, and then now he came back. He had these 2 games that he's shaking off the rust, then 10 strikeouts, 7 shutout against the Yankees. And it was there. So I feel like Casey Mize has finally found his rhythm, and not necessarily the sub-3 ERA, the 105 whip, sure, but like what I call a Holly, which is a step above a Toby. He's an innings guy for 6 innings who will have good ratios that you're fine with, you're okay with, and also a strikeout rate around like 22, 23%. That's how I see Casey Mize. He's going to be a low walk guy still. The slider, I think, really just changes everything for him.
Yeah, and that slider is, it's got a little bit more movement than like a straight 0-0, but it's basically a gyro slider.
Yeah,
like a hard gyro slider, and I think that is interesting.
That's exceptional.
Yeah, well, stuff doesn't love it, but what does love it is locations. Mize has like a basically 110, 115 location plus on that slider recently. And what we do know about gyro sliders is that they are more location dependent. Like just think about a big sweeper that you get a sword on, or the big miss, right?
Yeah.
Like those will be outside the zone, but a darty little like power slider that kind of needs to hit the right places. And I think someone probably just told him, hey, you don't spin it that well. He's told me that I don't spin it.
Right, yeah.
And they said, you don't spin it that well. We've been searching for a good breaking ball for you. Why don't you just throw one you can command? And
this works
like that. Yeah,
it's great.
So I also like that Detroit, like for the most part, actually does suppress homers. I know that it's a little bit more neutral when it comes to every piece of offense, but at least while he's a Tiger, I feel like the park will help suppress that. But I'm still a little bit nervous about that home run rate. Some other notables on this: Walker Buehler, Justin Robleski, 19th percentile.
Oh, I should have gone Robleski. I mean, that's an obvious one because we don't love the stuff as much, and it's just like he's been on his run. Seth Lugo, I should just.
Hey, how did Robleski get 11 strikeouts? I haven't checked that game yet.
My theory is that the last 3 games, or last maybe like 4, he's increased his fastball velocity to 95.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
Something that I need to do, I need to ask one of my going deep writers. Maybe I'll get like Nate Schwartz to do it. Is to really do an article about 2 strike rate and put away rate, because I feel like. I talk about the hotel, right? The Holy Trinity equating luck. And to me, that's about really ERA for the most part, and whip a bit because of hits being involved with their BABIP. But there is a luck strikeout stat. It does exist. And that is put away rates and 2 strike rate to an extent, where how often do you even get the opportunity to strike out a batter in a game is lucky. You do have needles.
When does the second strike ball comes, or the umpire is messing up, or framing?
Like sure, the same way that Logan Webb is going to have a higher BABIP than a fly ball pitcher, right? There's still luck involved in it. And for 2 strike guys, if you are getting a ton of early contact, right, in play, you will not have a high 2 strike rate. But for most guys, it fluctuates between like 35%, actually like 40% to up to like 65, 70% on a given night. So it's like 45 to 50. And so some nights we have more
big fluctuation if you think about it, like less than half,
exactly.
A third. Yeah.
It's huge. So, and then you have the other side of it. Great. When you get to 2 strikes, how often are you striking out?
So what you're saying is he doesn't do a great job of putting away.
So
but
it was a
some
combination of
games he
both.
just gets a ton of 2-strike counts and puts away just enough.
And
to
well,
do.
right. So it's twofold. First, you have to get the opportunity, and
Yeah.
then are you actually good, or like are you executing at the right time? Is what I want to say, because that's kind of what it is. Is you can throw like 12 curveballs on a given day, but have 5 strikeouts because those are the only 5 good ones you threw at the right time.
Yeah.
Right? That I've seen that many a time before, where like the only whiffs you get in a game or happen to be the 0-2 ones, but you're trying to throw competitive ones at 0-1 and you don't get it. And so when you have both of those get pushed up massively, and usually that means like 60% plus in either one, I rarely see a pitcher who has like a season average that is like a 60% 2-strike rate and or 60% put away rate. Last night, both of them were above 60% for Wroblewski. And that,
So
and
just like
keep in mind,
just a
there have
good,
been, yeah,
just a really well done, like a little bit of luck, a little bit of just look good execution.
they just couldn't hit his fastball all of a sudden. I mean, he was nailing it upstairs, is at 95, and they just could not in Sacramento. And we don't like Sacramento Verde as a park, but when it's in play, if it's not in play, it's great because the Athletics are not really the strongest.
It's also a really weird park for it doesn't have the normally in a major league park you have a tailwind because the wind comes over the top of the big it's not called the grandstand, it's like the concourse, right? Like the building, the wind comes over that mostly because that's how stadiums are built, and then it hits the grandstand, comes back, and you have a tailwind. But in Sacramento, you just don't know where the wind's coming from. It was the second best stuff night of the year for him, and his best stuff on the slider, and maybe the wind had something to do with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting. I love that. I mean, we've seen it weird before with like Jack Perkins, right? Remember that with like the wind making him have like a 24-inch sweeper, then another one's like a 10-inch one. But long story short here with Wroblewski, I looked at it across all the starts he's had this year. I think it's like 15. He's only had 3 games this entire season above a 35% put away rate. 3 games. 43%.
And the last one, what was the Athletics one?
Like at 65% last night.
That's almost double like what he normally does.
Like that's the highest. Yeah, like a 33% was his highest one before, right?
Wow.
So it's not even like acknowledging, that's not getting to it in the first place. When he just wasn't able to, right? And all of a sudden last night, he's like, cool, I got this fastball upstairs, 95, boom, boom, boom. They can't touch it. Right.
I definitely struggle with his type a lot. I know that, I mean, we are a little bit like, you're a little bit more like willing to give a guy his flowers if he's got the good command going. And, but like, I think we both recognize that like a sub 20% strikeout rate is just really, it's really hard to find success there. So,
oh yeah. If it's consistently like that, to put a pin on what I was just saying, he's only done it 3 times, twice in the last 3 games though.
Yeah, and the projections are starting to inch towards like maybe 21% strikeout rate,
and I think it's really just the 4-seamer. I think the 4-seamer is getting better with it. He has incorporated a little bit more of his arsenal over time. It wasn't just like in the beginning; it was, I want to say, 90% 4-seamer slider, and he is doing a little bit more with it. We also saw it last year, if you remember, that Wroblewski out of nowhere had like a game averaging 97 miles per hour. It was something just like, what?
He also struck out 27% of batters last year, so it's like. I am stuck on him, dude. Maybe I'll just be wrong. It's funny. I'm
just gonna say yes like the Dodgers and it's gone well. It's like, all right, whatever, dude. Eric Lauer shows up and he finds a win. Like, okay,
And also, it's weird when you like a guy, but you're trying to be like true to your process.
Oh, totally.
I like it. It's definitely easier to watch than like a Joe Boyle or something. Like he's hitting his spots. It's just when I watch Wroblewski, I also see him hit his spots. And then I never feel like the batter's uncomfortable.
Like
the batter's really fouling off stuff.
I love that. I often talk about a different thing that you're subconscious of, but that's another one I haven't addressed before, and I really should. I talk about it where like you watch a pitcher, do you feel like he's comfortable? He's comfortable. Is the pitcher battling himself or the batter? You can tell when you watch a game, even if you feel like you're not a pitching expert or you're not really into the numbers, all that kind of stuff. You can just tell if this guy is like executing his plan or not. And
a number of jersey tugs.
yeah. And And then the second is, of course, as you're saying, which I really should point out more, like, am I sensing that the batters are struggling too, right? Or
Yeah.
are they feeling like, cool, I'm going to get this pitch, and he executes, and they make contact with it? Like,
How
is
many
it,
weird looks after a
yeah,
swing,
weird
you know?
movements, foul balls that are strange, man, he didn't hit that one. Like, you will look back and be like, right, that was weird. There are a lot of times I watch games though where guys are just like, it's just baseball's going by like the motions, where they're throwing pitches, they don't feel like they're amazing. Batters are swinging at them, they're like grounding out, and it's like you blink and it's the sixth inning, 3 strikeouts have happened, 4 or whatever, and you just go, how did this just happen? Like, nothing. That was a complete blank wall of subconscious. I don't know. It just existed. I don't feel that with Robleski though. I feel like Robleski there's something funky about him. He doesn't have a lot of extension, right? He's from the left side, he's to 95 now. I don't know. I'm just gonna say he's good. It's like the Abbott rule. We don't know why, but it's just generally good, and that's that.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah.
I mean,
I bet you I bet you what's going to happen, and this is going to annoy the crap out of me, is that, like,
oh no,
after having defended my ranking of him a lot, by pointing out that low strikeout rate guys have this, these outcomes, he's just going to, his strikeout rate's going to go up and up, and
well,
end the
that
season
is
like
a perfect
20.
segue.
So then I could be like,
oh,
well, see, he had a 22% strikeout rate, so he was.
Oh man, oh my gosh. I mean, that is actually something we talked about last week, where you were saying that kind of stuff. I was like, great, I'm with you. I don't think those guys are going to be that at the end of the year, and they have been thus far, right? That is the one argument against it, but who knows that one. There is a pitcher I have been down on a lot this year. I'm guarantee with you, who certainly has made a case otherwise, and it's going to make this weird feeling of, okay, I was saying he wasn't very good, but all of a sudden he did something like 3 things brand new, and everyone that said that he was great, I'm sorry, but did you predict that he'd do 3 things brand new? I would have loved to have known that. Thank you for including me, not. And I'll tell you exactly who that mystery pitcher is after this break. So I hate that I want to talk about this guy, because I overnight do not like this human. But he was so good, Cade Cavalli was just like, he threw 2 to 3 ticks harder all of a sudden. His curveball is 87-88 with crazy good 2-plane movement. I'm curious what your stuff plus number is of that pitch from last night, because, like, oh my gosh, insane. If you want to combine the sweeper and the curve, you probably should, because it's the same pitch, just a little bit higher on the clock. And he also is
look at that number. Jeez.
Yeah, what is it?
142. I mean, that would the best averages, like Jacob Mizorowski's curveball, I think, is the best, and it's like I think that's the best. 130. It's like 135.
Yeah, this moves more at the same velocity.
Yeah,
this was insane.
87.5, 97 on the fastball. Also, did you mention his fastball cut basically more than it had all year?
You're getting it wrong. You're getting it wrong.
He had a cutter?
He is a cutter.
So
I went through my dashboard and I updated it, because it's all wrong. It was, and he threw 4 of them last week. 3, I think, were assigned as 4-seamers. I changed on my dashboard to be cutters. And then there was one that's a changeup, but it's really not a changeup. That's a really just terrible cutter. And he threw those. He threw 3 of them in the 6th inning against the Phillies. So to me, that was Cavalli being like, all right, I need something new. 6th inning, I'm just going to throw this thing and see what happens. And he threw, I think, 11 or 12 of them against the Red Sox.
Oh, it's very obvious.
It is so obvious. I don't know why they were labeled as 4-seamers.
Whoa.
Right. So the thing about this is, I've been anti-Cade Cavalli, as he would break the Wasker Inoa rule. If you don't know that, it's where you have an elite breaking ball and you throw mid-90s or more, but it's empty velocity. Those are not whiff fastballs, and you have nothing else. If that's the case, I don't want you. It's why I've been down on Ben Brown. The sinker has helped out a lot, blah, blah, blah. Fine. I don't expect that to last. Cade Cavalli, very much the same, where he has not been getting with
3 fastballs.
Command of a sinker hasn't been good. The sweeper is the same thing as the curveball in my view, and there's nothing else. However, not only do you have velocity where you have like what 25% swing strike rate all of a sudden on the four-seamer last night as he blew it by all the guys. Not only do you have the best curveball you've had of your life, but you also have this cutter that is now the bridge strike pitch. This is such an important offering, and he threw it 11, 12 times, and I hate this because he sucks, man. Dude, what are you doing?
I'm looking at him. Foul. Oh. 1 foul. 2 foul. 3 foul. Ball.
Great.
Ball. Called strike. Ball.
Whiffs.
Ball. Called strike. Swinging strike. 1 swinging strike. 2 swinging strikes. A bunch of fouls. 2 or 3 balls. Yeah, that's a pretty good pitch.
It just needs to be a strike. It's the 2-1 pitch. You need the 2-1 pitch that is not the curveball that they are spitting on.
They think they're getting the fastball, and then instead it hits the inside of your barrel.
Exactly.
It's the handle, yeah.
That's all it needs to be, and it changes things completely. Now, of course, 1 game of adding 2 ticks. We'll see if that sticks around. This was also the Red Sox, who are one of the worst teams against right-handers in the majors.
It's not just he added from the game before. He only added 0.4.
Right.
So he's been like surging towards this.
Mm.
He's got a lot of 96s. It was the best velo of the year, other than 1 start against Baltimore.
But also, I think the curveball was its hardest. I could be wrong on that one.
Yeah, that one is for sure. And that one's been trending that way because he started at 83, 84, got to 85, 86, and this is the first time he was
87 to 88. Like what? So this is the question I want to ask, because I always have such difficulty with these peak starts, right? Like I remember seeing Emerson Hancock's first start of the year and be like, this is so atypical. Like, is this going to work? Are we going to see something else with the sweeper too? I don't know what to do with this. And we have seen guys have a peak velocity night and then come back down. We have seen guys introduce something like a cutter and then it just goes away. Framber Valdez. Right, like this is.
I put him on the block in a keeper league.
So you would be trading him after this hot start.
I put him in an offer for Logan Webb in one where it's like an auto new league where home runs are really bad. Yep. I don't want homers. Like I could see him homer regressing. Yeah. He's got a tough park for homers, and then he's just had a really bad health history, and then his command is not that good.
Cade Cavalli, absolutely is not. It is
so. There's a lot of things. It's like, this might serve as a transition, but Joey Cantillo, before the season, there was a lot of people saying, well, he's got this great curveball changeup combo, and lefty's always overperform, extension, all this stuff, good home park, good team for it. And I said, yeah, but the command is bad and the health his history is bad. And, I have a couple Cantillo shares. I just didn't go as deep as other people. I would say that people who did get him are probably mediocrely happy with him.
Well, do they still have
the season so far? Yeah, they might have dropped him by now. And maybe the people who picked him up, though, are finally coming through on that promise. I think, what I saw was a little change in velocity and
straight start.
Change in his changeup too, right?
Oh no. Okay, so what this is the curveball cast? Because once again, I mean, Cantillo for 3 straight starts, he's just leaning into this curveball. And I remember talking to you in the offseason about surprisingly Cantillo has this big curveball that he can actually throw for strikes. Right? It's a rarity to see this.
Wow, 50% in his last start.
And and this was this was a 60% strike rate in this one. It's 38% usage in this one. Would you say 50% usage in the last one? Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's wild. And he finally just started embracing it. While
that's sustainable.
See, tick harder.
I would trade Cantillo right now too. I think. I mean, I think you're talking about a 91-mile-an-hour fastball guy with a bad injury history, bad command, who's throwing his curveball 50% of the time right now.
It's 93 on the fastball is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, but that's true. But I would still trade it. Think about the negatives too. The negatives haven't gone away. He doesn't have great command now.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. So I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. I'm
Yeah,
just
okay.
I'm showcasing that this does feel like a newer Cantillo. In the
Yeah.
beginning of the season, I was very out. And I remember actually on our Pitcherless subscriber Discord, someone being really upset with me. Not upset, they were just like really confused and like, there's no way this is terrible,
Yeah,
Nick.
I got some of that too.
Um,
I was this is too
because
low because
I
of
had
this,
him
this,
like in the
this.
80s or something for a 12 teamer, and this is like Cantillo, the guy who can go like 9 strikeouts in a given game. What are you doing? And I said, well, I'm a little different before the season than I am during the season, because if I'm going to draft someone, I don't want to draft a hipster, headache-inducing pitcher
You
stifling.
want to be more risk averse.
I w-
You want
I
to
want to know what I'm getting. It's not about the
yeah.
risk. Like I understand if there's risk, and I want to know that this risk is going to exist, right? I want to be able to say, "Cool, I know this guy is not good for my team, so I will drop him now." Cantillo is a pendulum. It goes back and forth each time. You don't know what you're going to get, and that is putting you as a manager in purgatory often. So I was out. I was like, I'm not interested in this. I had like other guys that are not that good, but ahead of him, because at least I will know. And there's some sliver of upside that if you see that, then great, then I'm happy with it and I soar. And now though, I'm seeing 3 starts. I mean, look, today's was weird. It was 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 hits, 5 walks, 4 Ks. He also had, I believe, a really terrible third inning of a walk, actually 3 walks, where he walked in a run, and a single. But at the end of the day, like Cantillo's throwing harder. He still has his 7.3 feet of extension. The changeup is still great. And the curveball has been fantastic for 3 straight games after this being a strike pitch for ages that he's now embracing.
I
And
think
the
it's one of those
command
things
forms are
where
still there. But
yeah, I think this is one of those things where you have to have different like plans of attack for different leagues.
mm,
I think if he's available and on your wire, you in a redraft league, you're picking him up.
yeah,
There's no reason not to. He's in the middle of a good power stretch with the power of the fastball and a new pitch. I love pitch mix changes. Just like
oh boy,
give me a
so
pitch
fun.
mix change.
You and Eric
Like
and me.
yeah. So like I'll take that. It's simultaneously in a redraft in a keeper league, I might be putting him on the block and selling him because there's two interesting pieces of information here. The Velo boost in season seems like a good thing. There's a piece by I think it's Russell Carlton over he's used to be known as Pizza Cutter over at Baseball Prospectus. He has a piece called "Should We Overthrow?" He looks at velocity spikes in season and injury records after that, and it's pretty gruesome.
Oh man.
So it's like one of the people that did something like this was Strider recently. Another person that had a Velo boost in season, that was a big deal. We all remember Spencer Schwellenbach. So Velo boost is one of those things. And the other piece of information that's really interesting is that Rob Arthur had a piece that said that there is a hot hand in pitching. It is fastball velocity. And so, that's why in a redraft, you'd be like, haha, hot hand. I'm riding it. Fastball Velo up. Got it. Good. But that also means hot hand. Like the Velo could go down and he could go back to being who he was.
Right.
And there's his injury component. So I think it's just one of those things where in different leagues, you do different things with Cantillo.
Yeah. With hot hand, it's interesting. I thought of that I consider it more as command focused. Like this is what I talk about a lot of time with Toby's, or just like you're just not throwing down the middle of the plate. Davis Martin's really nice stretch. You can probably see that the heart rate, the heart percentage in the plate is lower than when he's doing badly, right? Watch is not going to be the case at all. That's my guess, though, and I'm going to stick with it. And that's often what I think about with the Vargas rule is just guys are executing their thing really, really well, and they're in that rhythm. They have the feel for all of their pitches. They're getting the strikes with them. Just like Jose Soriano throwing strikes with 4-seamers until he stopped, right? I mean, then again, he threw 4-seamers for strikes yesterday, but then the sinker didn't. So who cares? That's really how I see him. But right, if velocity's up and they're feeling great, like
I think that now that
clear
we get better metrics for
Yeah.
command, the better we get with I think there's still another level to get to. I saw some promise from some stuff that Alex Chamberlain was doing with release angles and stuff,
Oh, nice.
So like if we can dial in, I think that we haven't found the best command metric yet. And if we can dial that in, we might be able to find what you're looking for in hot hand there too, because it makes intuitive sense to me that my theory of command is that like you have to be sort of perfectly healthy to have good command.
Yeah.
And that most pitchers sort of vary between, like 50% healthy and on the IL and, 80 to 90% healthy in a given season. They're just different stretches of
Sure.
things hurting and things not hurting, So, I could see like, oh, he's actually feeling good physically in this stretch and the command goes up and and you can maybe catch that somehow.
Do the Dodgers have better command?
Do the Dodgers have a better command overall than anybody?
Because it's a 6-man rotation and they refuse to have them go twice in a week.
Okay, I can do this real quick. Starting pitching, pitch
And as you do
modeling.
that, also, I do want to mention that we are going to have the number one command stat. It's going to be our eyeballs, and it's going to be called the Nikino. And
Dodgers starting rotation 7th. What is interesting about this, however,
is that removing Glass now?
Well, but they're 7th, in location plus, and yet in that sample is Blake Snell, Shohei Ohtani, Roki Sasaki, Tyler Glasnow, and even Will Klein. I don't know how to characterize that, but those 4 that I just listed,
Right,
I would say have bad command.
Yeah, right.
And so maybe they help. They help.
Maybe they're helping them get better command,
sort of the higher levels of their own command.
It's so funny is the Seattle Mariners had their piggyback thing, right? And the
Mhm.
whole baseball world went aflame. Oh gosh, how could they do this? And my instant reaction before I saw anyone else's was, "Oh, that's a cool idea. They should do that. Every team should do that."
Yeah.
Because it's super smart. I mean, I will stick my hat on that every team should be forced into a 6-man rotation. If you start a game, you cannot go until 5 days later, or 5 days rest. You're not allowed. And a piggyback situation guarantees some sort of rest, right? You have a 6-man rotation with a piggyback. It means that you can actually help recover in season, which I think is necessary. I think it's such a huge deal. And you're telling me, I mean, which is so convincing of, right, you're feeling better. You're going to command better. I mean, I think about this all the time of, I can remember all the times when I was pitching and just like, I can feel a creak somewhere and I need to stabilize it. I need to adjust.
And you adjust for it. And now you've hurt something
now
else.
It's not everything. And the best days, oh gosh, I've always been the guy that wants to be drenched in sweat. I want to be in the super hot weather because I would just, everything would feel fine.
Limber and
right. I feel limber. It's the sweat is just like, that's all I'm focused on. I'm not thinking about anything else. Like I just feel totally free to be as athletic as I need to,
We had a show where we tried to fix the Diamondbacks pitchers on Rates and Barrels.
Okay. Oh, yeah, right. Gallon. I remember talking about that. Yeah.
One of my solutions for Gallon, Trevor May said that he's actually tipping his breaking balls, that he's like his body's tighter and he's showing it off. And I was like, oh, his body's tighter. And I was like, well, I learned no, I was like, I learned a mantra when I was a kid. Like I learned meditation as a kid. When they teach you as a kid, they don't teach you like a long mantra, and they don't want you sitting down because as a kid, they don't think you're going to sit down. So what they do is they teach you a short mantra that you say to yourself as you're like doing laundry or doing the dishes or, doing a chore of some sort.
Okay.
And so I suggest that Callan should try a mantra out there, should try to meditate on the mound.
Well, I mean, he had a mantra. Well, I mean, this is 2019. I talk about this all the time of maybe it's not 19, actually, it was like 17. One of the first like interviews I got with a pitcher was Gallon. I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I had like a Zoom call with him. And they sat him down in like the in the locker room, some random room, as if I was giving him like a FBI, investigation or a grilling. And all right, we talked for 30 minutes. It was
because you didn't have clubhouse access or something, or what?
I mean, no, back then, 2017. Are you kidding me? He was no a chance. And it was also a Zoom call. He wasn't in New York or whatever.
Oh, Zoom. Yeah.
And so, so I'm talking to this is so great. And at the end of it, I go back to listen to it, and I had only recorded my own voice.
Yes.
I could not believe it. And I remember calling Alex Fast, and he's like, "Stop what you're doing. Don't call. Get off the phone and write down everything you remember." And I finally put out that article 2.5 years later when, oh no, 4.5 years later when the lockout happened.
Then you
I
needed
finally wrote
something.
that
You're like,
going
oh, I
through.
have to have these notes
I
for
was
this.
like, all right, guys,
guy.
it's time. The
So what was the
legendary Zach
mantra?
Allen thing. The mantra that he would have, though, as he said inside of this, was in the first inning, think like a closer. And so you have to constantly, like the first inning, you have to feel like this is the most important inning. I need to close and not allow a run.
This is why I think the opener works on a psychological basis.
Oh,
Is that like you get to start against the 6, 7, 8 hitters, so you get to feel like a closer, and you're like, bang, everything's going today. It's great, and you get to do that before you actually have to face Juan Soto. You know?
I just love the fact that you're like, the guy who opens isn't that good, so they're going to allow 2 base runners, because then the second inning you're going to get the 6, 7, 8 guy.
Yeah,
right. 4, 5, 6.
Well, that's how it's been working out.
Okay, the relievers, they're not that good, so they'll allow 2 base runners every time.
Yeah.
6, 7, 8. I mean, no, there is something to that. Absolutely, of like, all right, this is an easier, time getting into the game.
This is what we thought today might work for Aaron Nola.
Oh, that's an interesting thought, but I would say the opposite for Aaron Nola. He always gets burned in like the 5th and the 6th. Like I feel the old phrase, the Philly, which is close but no cigar. Philly, 5.2 innings, not a quality start.
You say to just take him out in the 4th.
Right.
You did good today, kid.
Can they do the whole thing with like Shohei Ohtani, but like bring him back in like the 7th or something like that? No, but with Nola on the Phillies, he would get pulled at 5.2 innings all the time. And you wouldn't be able to finish it. It was called a Philly. And close to no cigar. And Aaron Nola would just always run into this. And I think eventually it was like, all right, it's curveball, fastballs, and like third time through the lineup, there you go. But first inning, again, opener, Aaron Nola. Man, you know what my least favorite thing about the opener is? Least favorite thing. The magic is gone.
Yeah.
You
have no chance at a no-hitter. You have no chance at a...
I don't think people really understand that as a pitcher, even in Little League or whatever, like
starting matters.
Ball, this is my path to carve.
Yeah.
I could make this the coolest, greatest path ever. And every time I get that ball in the first inning, who knows?
Yeah.
Right. So you're taking that away. And that sucks. I hate that so much.
And as a fan, I've always said, like, like, you want to go to the game tonight? Who's starting?
Yeah, right.
It's like almost always like my first, the first thing.
Now, hold on a second. Do you want to be a good pitcher or a bad pitcher?
I want to be a starting pitcher. I want to be a good pitcher. Sorry, into relievers. I listening to that.
No, trust me, it's just like cornerbacks are failed wide receivers. Relievers are failed starters. We know this.
Yeah.
So, we know this. Bad hands. That's why it's cornerbacks. Anyway, here's the thing, though. When I go to a ball game, I'm usually not really like right behind home plate. Sometimes I get lucky when the Mets are on a losing streak and get those for $60.
Very rarely. Although the Giants press box is right there. It's amazing.
Oh, is it? Oh man. But so it's usually not right behind home plate. So I'm watching it. I'll be honest with you. A 1-0 pitcher duel kind of stinks as a fan, right? It would be great if watching at home.
Strikeouts stink at the field.
I know what's cool. I know what he pitched you through. I know what's going on. Oh man, that was beautiful. I don't know any of that in the stands.
Yeah.
If I'm looking and seeing who's pitching tonight, I want it to be guys. I'm like, really? What? I want it to be Clayton Richard versus
Alan Webster,
John Maine.
Yeah.
Okay, like whatever it is, right? Because then it's like a 9-8 game.
And stuff is happening.
What's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I want. Sorry, I just remember this going to I finally got really, really nice tickets for my brother-in-law who had never seen a baseball game before. And it was at Citi Field. And I was like, who was it that day? It was Clayton Richards. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
I took my best friend and his daughters out to their first game, and it was in San Francisco, so not that much run scoring, and so then I was like, well, how do I I convinced them that something is about to happen. So I kept saying 3-2 count. Something's got to happen. And every time I said that, they would just foul a pitch off or something. Or like, I was like, damn it. And I think it was like a 2-1 game. And I was like,
Look,
I don't know that I made fans for life today.
I'm so sorry. I got really lucky once. I got free tickets, 4 tickets to a Yankee game, and I invited 3 people, 3 close friends of mine who had never been to a Yankee game or never like cared about baseball, but they were hosting the Angels. And the only thing I told them was like, the best player in baseball is on the other team. This was Mike Trout. And like, yeah, okay, whatever. And this was a game where he went like 4 for 4 with 2 doubles and a home run. And they won like 11 something, whatever, the Angels. And afterwards, like, Mike Trout's the best player in baseball. I'm like, yes. Thank you so much. But no, if you guys are at a game and listening to this and you're trying to entertain people who are not really interested in it, you can do this with kids too. You just maybe not exactly the same way, but you still maybe can. There is a game called the ball game. I know it sounds weird, but it's called the ball game. And what you do is, let's say you have like 6 people. Everybody puts in one single dollar bill and you give them all to one person. And they say every single time the ball is changed, you move it to the next person in the line. So if it's the same exact ball the entire inning, you can track it. If it's a foul ball, it's different. If the ump throws out a different ball, no. The very end of the inning, so top of the first to the end of the first, and it's the top of the second now, whoever has the cash in their hand wins it.
When what happens?
When the next inning turns over, whoever's holding the money keeps the money. And you'll be shocked how interested and invested you get because you are dialed in. Like, no, doesn't want that ball. Throw it away, every single pitch. Like, please be a foul ball. Please be a foul ball. Like, it's 2 outs, 1-2 count. Like, I don't want, I'm the next in line, foul ball, it's amazing. You will get anyone involved in baseball. This is my number 1 rule for getting people into baseball. You start with the ball, change a game, and then all of a sudden you can teach them about what pitching is. But, there's
slight variations. Slight variations on that for different levels of fandom. There's always the bet on where the ball lands when they run off the field between innings.
Oh yeah, is it on the bump or not?
Yeah, is it on the bump or not? That's a good one. Then there's a version of yours where everyone seeds the cup with like a dollar to start, right? And then if the guy holding the cup, the person holding the cup holds it for an at bat. And at the end of the at bat, if it's a strikeout, he puts $1 in. If it's an out in play, he puts $1 in. If it's a single, he takes $1 out. If it's a double, he takes $2 out. And so like,
oh my gosh, then it really matters who's pitching that day. Oh man,
yeah, right.
Oh my god. All right, we're gonna bring it back to actually talking about pitchers. There's a guy today, Troy Melton, that has been an interesting one that we followed a bit. I don't really remember where you stand on him, and we got to talk about this one from today against the Yankees. We'll talk about him after this break. All right, back to baseball and pitchers. All right, so we got Troy Melton today, 6.1 innings of 0 runs, 2 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts against the Yankees. He had 12 whiffs, and why this is important is that the first 4 games of the year for Troy Melton, 7 whiffs, 6 whiffs, 8 whiffs, 10 whiffs, with a sub 11% swinging strike rate. Last 3 games now, 14% swinging strike rate, 17-14 with 12, 15, and 12 whiffs. I'm curious about this because I know I've gotten a lot of questions about Troy Melton. I really liked him last year. I considered him a command guy with a floor with innings who could step up soon. Do you see this as like, okay, I need to readjust my rankings on Troy Melton because he could be coming a 23-24% strikeout rate guy,
I would like to know one thing, 2 things, maybe.
Just that,
or about one pitch.
Okay.
Tell me, how much did he throw his cutter today? How much velocity did he have on it?
What do you want? What do you want to hear?
What do I want to hear? And I also want to know how much cut it had, if that's possible.
Okay. What do you want to hear?
I would love to hear that he threw it at least a quarter of the time.
Is it to lefties or righties, or it doesn't matter?
Just I'm looking at overall.
Okay.
I would love to hear that it was at least 91.5. And I would love to hear that it had at least 2 inches of cut.
2 inches of cut. So I mean, you're talking about just like -2.
It's like a
horizontal?
+2 on the
Yeah, going
XY.
glove side, you want it to
Yeah.
be at least 2.
I wanted to have significant glove side movement.
Okay. Well, Troy Melton threw 84 pitches. He threw 20 cutters. That is a 24% usage.
That's
Okay,
good
that's up
enough, I think.
6% on the season. He
Velo.
averaged 92 on the dot.
Oh, I'm starting to love it. I love
All
it.
right. His drop actually increased by 1.6
Oh.
inches. So now it's at 5.6. And his cut, that is his induced horizontal break. You're looking for something that's like a -2.
Yeah.
It was a -5.2. So
Jeez.
yes, it was a
He
good
seems to be
cutter.
I think he's dialing that pitch in. I think it matters because what I've seen before from him is like a lot of okay that we when he was throwing a little bit harder last year was like just above okay. So you're like, damn, he has like above average pitches across the board. But I think one thing that we did miss last year that is playing out a little bit is just that like there might not have been an out pitch.
So this is I'm so happy you said that. So I mean, we could just call this the put away rate podcast if we want.
Yeah.
The curveball put away rate podcast, right? Because that's what an out pitch is. How often are you, when you throw this in 2 strike counts, are you actually
Or in stuff plus parlance, like a 110 plus? Like he didn't have anything that was
Okay,
over a
sure.
110.
So when it comes to put away rate, there's 2 different versions. There's the batter level. So when you see a 2 strike count against a batter, how many of them did you ultimately strike out? And then there's on the per pitch level of when you throw a singular pitch in a 2 strike count, how often is it a strikeout, right?
Mm.
So put away rates in general for individual pitches is actually what I'm used to, and I've only really introduced the per batter one this year. The per batter one, 41% average for the year. It was 70% today.
Wow.
But the per pitch one, what you normally should see is like around 18-20% for a fastball type. And if it's like a really good one, you'll see like 22 or so. And then the very, very best breaking balls in the majors
These track with whiff rates,
27 to
right?
30%.
These
Okay.
track with whiff rates generally.
Yeah,
They're
kind of.
close to
Yeah,
whiff
right.
rate.
So like for example, like Glasnow's curveball though, he spikes it a lot, but I mean, when he throws in a 2 strike count, is more deadly, right? Guys will go more fishing for it more often. So that's a 30% put away rate, which is to me like one of the greatest ones. Overall, across all of his pitches, he had a 37% put away rate today. And that caused the 7 strikeouts, right? So it was a slider that got it 2 out of 3 times. He had a fastball that was able to do it 2 out of 6 times. And then you had actually a third time for the slider, a splitter that was effective half the time. So it's varied, and there isn't really, I agree with you, there isn't that true definitive strike pitch or out pitch yet. He, on the collective whole, was able to find it, but this is to me unsustainable and not something that we should be buying into. Whereas put away rates the last 2 games, 45%, 46%, those are 5 strikeouts and 6 strikeouts. That's on the per batter level. I just see him as a solid arm. And as a young one who is not going to be just this forever, right? Like,
I see a little bit of similarities to Mize. Like it may take time. It may be good, really good for stretches. It may not have a great strikeout rate until later in his career. It's what I do like about it is many pitches that are okay, some pitches that are improving right now. And we may end up that he's like sort of a cutter. I don't know that many cutter splitter guys, but that may be his identity in his core eventually.
Sure.
Because I do think those are kind of his best pitches. But the fact that the curve and slider at least flash average, and the fact that his four seam and sinker at least flash average, I don't know, man. I think it's still interesting. I don't want to talk myself into a guy with a low strikeout rate after I just, spent all this time hemming and hawing about Robleski. But, Melton's also had like way higher strikeout rates in the minors than Robleski did. So to me, this is some extent being like, okay, this is a guy we coached to his optimal shapes in every category in the minor leagues. And that led to 30% strikeout rates in the minor leagues. And he came up to the big leagues and they were like, this is not quite good enough, dude. Like, and now he's like, oh, okay. So I got to get even better somewhere. And I gotta figure out what makes outs. And, so he's gone in the major leagues a little bit more to the splitter and more to the cutter than he did in the minors. When I say cutter splitter guy, like, who comes to even mind?
Isn't that what Hurston Waldrop started to do?
Yeah, there you go. Well, that doesn't help.
No, I mean, honestly, the debut start for Mize, right? Was that?
Yeah.
I mean, you nailed that one there. I have to think though that there are lefties. I feel like there's lefties who used to do that. Did Ubaldo? Actually, Ubaldo as a righty. I know he had a splitter.
I can think of a lot of cutter curve guys. That just never found a slider. There was a lot of cutter curve guys.
Well,
Wainwright and.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, Waka for a bit, change up cutter. So it's kind of splitter, not really the same.
Okay. Yeah. Wade Miley, you got the cutter change guys.
Oh my gosh, Wade Miley. Yep, totally.
Not that far off.
I've gotten to the point now with Wade Miley. I didn't know I'd ever get here where he's like, oh yeah, he's retired, and I forgot about him. I thought that was never going to happen.
you thought you'd wake up day after day thinking about Wade Miley.
But with Troy Melton, what's so interesting about this to me is I actually don't think that the slider is bad. It's an 87 mile per hour slider with -7, -8 horizontal, and it's like an even 0 drop. So it's like a gyro. Like how I treat the pitch movement plot is I say 87 gyro 0-0. That is your baseline of like totally average, then you have like the Kumar Rockers, whatever, 84 somehow working. But even that has like an extra 5 inches of drop on it. So when you take that 87-0-0 and you add something to it, if it goes past like the 5 threshold or so, then you start to get really good. And 87 at -7.8 to me speaks, oh, hey, this is worthwhile. And this was a 43% swing strike rate. So that's 3 out of 7. If I'm doing quick maths here. Today, there is some hope for that to right-handers over time. I actually wonder if that 30% strikeout rate from the minors was because Melton is generally a good command pitcher.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched this one against the Yankees today, and right before we got on here, he was cruising. I mean, like he executes. He just kind of goes and does the thing, and it feels like, yeah, you know how to pitch, man. It's
like a lot of low and away.
It's cool. It really is. I feel like this is not a. This is. I hate saying this. I'm trying as best as I can to figure out Jared Jones, Bubba Chandler, Jackson Jobe, these kinds of pitchers who we feel like this should really work all the time, and it just doesn't.
We're all super excited about, and they come to the big leagues and like, how did we not see these flaws before?
And the thing is, it's very easy for us to just see a guy having success and be like, cool, good command, and then he doesn't have success, and we're like, hey, he's not good command. But it's like sometimes it's just the same. And I felt like this way with those other guys. Bubba Chandler at the end of last year, at the very least, Jared Jones when he first showed up, Jackson Jobe when he was pitching a lot was like, this is generally a good command. You should be doing better than this. And I see Melton right now, and I'm like, you're totally right. There's nothing exceptional here, but it's a lot of pitches. That's 6 pitches with at least 7 thrown today.
Yeah, and good velocity and pretty good command of each.
Right.
It is a wider mix than a lot of the guys you mentioned. I mean, but I think we saw a similar thing with Jobe where he like killed it in the minor leagues, came up, strikeout rate wasn't there, and he had to rediscover his identity. And I think maybe the takeaway from all this is that it's just really hard to identify your identity in the minor leagues against inferior competition.
Yeah.
Because you can get away with mistakes. You can do things. You can just like he sits 97. Like it's not like there's a ton of guys sitting 97 in the minors,
Right.
Not as starters at least, and so he has a wide mix and he has decent command of all of them. Then he gets to the big leagues and they're like, yeah, that's cool and all, but like you can't get me out 0-2. I just fouled
Right.
off 3 pitches 0-2, and now it's, now I'm back in this thing or whatever,
Unless you face the cold Yankees where you get 7 strikeouts and a 70% put away rate.
Yeah.
But
Well,
okay, so
I just
yeah,
I can't tell anybody that now is the time to sell because there's so obviously so many things in flux, and then you basically, you had your best 2 strikeout rate games in a row. And so it's hard to be like, okay, now, or 3 strikeout rate games in a row. So now
yeah.
you're like, well, if he's finding the strikeouts, yeah, I want to be in on this.
And what's interesting to me is I often think about guys like Melton. I want to call him almost a young gun, which is I'm so in for 2027 just because I feel confident that a guy like this isn't something where I feel like he's just going to be a lot worse. Like this is at the very least, this is what he is. And I feel like it's a foundation that he builds on. And we generally see over time, something is going to be tweaked. Something's going to happen with these. A lot of these young arms that we get really hyped about and they don't work out. Many of them do great in the third, fourth year or whatever, right?
Yeah, but it's crazy. He's 25. Like we have these hitters come up that are like 21 and they rock it. I mean, even Connor Griffin, they were like, oh, it was tough for him for like 2 weeks and then he found it. You know what I mean? Like Kevin McGonigal is just like
I have a
landed
theory
and
about
he's
this.
fine. The
I have a
pitchers
theory.
seem to have a way harder time. I looked at
Right.
the number of 24 and below and they're
You
not
want to
there.
know why, in my view? I
Why?
think that hitting is more about athleticism and being spry and being like, I can handle this. Recovery also from every day. I remember hearing things like Tristan Casas being like, I tore my oblique because I just swing too hard too often.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the kind of thing that you don't realize that hitters go through. Is that it's really
Addison
not
Barger just
as
happened to
easy,
him.
right? While pitching is a skill more so than athleticism. And that takes time to form into really, as you were mentioning, you got to tweak, you got to change, you got to adapt. But sure, there are things to learn in the majors as a hitter. I'm not saying otherwise. But what I am saying is that if you're athletic, you just kind of roll with it, see ball, hit ball. There's more of an innate skill that can benefit younger players.
I'm listening to you and I'm agreeing with you. I'm totally agreeing with you. I'm also just wondering, like, if I was the director of player development, like how would I incorporate what I believe you're saying into like, how would I like make a program that would work? Because what we're seeing right now is just a real reduction of how much they pitch, and I just wonder if maybe that's not serving them, because like, how do you find your 85 to 100 pitch identity if you're limited to 60 pitches?
Did you just hear that sound? That was the thump of my 20-page 20-point plan of my binder hitting the table.
So they got to pitch a little bit more in the minors, right?
So I have so many thoughts. My gosh, this is supposed to be the end of the podcast.
We could save it.
I'll try and say it very, very quickly. I have a general theory that there are more and more pitchers who are capable than ever. And we're hitting kind of a wall of like innate skill that is good. So the market inefficiency isn't the skill itself; it's the sustainability of the skill. And we have to train in a way that weeds out those who can't sustain it. We have to push them more, which I know sounds wild. You can do rest. Rest is good, but we have to have more intense singular moments.
Yeah,
I remember Tom. I think about this so much. Tom Glavine, Living on the Black, fantastic book. It's over here somewhere. John Feinstein. Here we go, right there. And it talks about Tom Glavine coming up for the first time getting shoulder soreness, and he thought he was going to be rested, shut down for 2 months. No, they're like, hey, you're going to throw a long toss every day. And they go, what? And it's, no, you're just not used to it. You just got to do it. That's what's going on. You're not used to this, and you got power through, and he was fine after that. And it's what fixed him. And that's just like, right. What we're doing right now is we're saying, yes, many people can get hurt from this.
So
however,
we're just, and everybody stop pitching.
People who are able to do it. We need to weed it out almost. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but I very much feel that. Second thing is, I think how the minors is structured and how we do player development is wrong. I think it's incredibly wrong. We should not just like have them go out every 5 days and just do the motions. Pitching is only helpful if it's actually, as my college coach would say, which won't quote my college coach much at all, but this is the one thing is that practice isn't good practice. Good practice is good practice. Are you doing the right things that actually help you take the step forward? Just pitching in the game isn't necessarily doing that. I would say you should have like a month like it is in like Middlebury, where you have a focused class that all you do is just do that one class for like 2 weeks, whatever it is. Do that with a changeup. Literally all you do for like 2 weeks is throw changeups. Like some pitchers don't even know what they're good at. They haven't tried it. So you have all of these players who are just so capable, and you're not giving the opportunity for a canvas to explore, to really figure all of it out and see what they can learn, what they can't. Instead, we just say, cool, you're this guy. All right, try and do it a little bit better. Do it some more again in 5 days. Like, what? That's not development. That's just existing.
Dan Straley told him that the A's told him that he had to throw 13 changeups every start. So one start, he just threw 13 straight changeups.
Okay. That's fine.
I was like,
I'm okay with that, because literally that, I mean, I'm actually more a fan of that than spreading them out, because you can at least like adjust them on the fly. Right. I think you should have bullpens like that, where you're just throwing this one thing, maybe one random fastball, get your least point back, and then throw it again. Like, you have to practice the skill in a way like that. And then we talk about the whole philosophy of the game of like, what is sequencing? We don't do that enough. Every single person, just like we ask every writer to give us samples of, you got to be able to do these things and then we can do that. Why are we skipping on sequencing? It's like the most important thing out there. Everyone should know that. I don't know.
And now we're taking more and more of the sequencing away, so that the pitcher is not actually internalizing. They're not learning how to sequence. They're just getting a sign from somebody and just doing it.
Man, you really hit something here. Watch my video on Ryan Weathers. I just covered his like 1.2 inning game, where there's a lot of sequencing questions that I have, because I think there were a lot of things that he could have easily just fixed by not throwing that thing in that one scenario. And this is really the biggest argument against analytics. It's misunderstood, because analytics is all the times telling us, hey, look, this is information, and this information gets translated into probabilities. And that is, I think, where the biggest clash is. We often talk like, cool, this is generally what happens, and we know that, and that's a fact, and that shouldn't be argued against. The thing that happens is that there's some people who are exceptions. And when we say, great, there's a chance that like you don't do this because of, 80% of the time it's going to be that. And then there are people who are watching it and scouting and know that, like, sure, but this is the 20%, right? And as a pitcher, you don't want to be right where you're sequencing 85% of the time, right? You don't want to just take the chances of like, cool, you look at the thing, like, in general, this is the best thing. That's what's happening.
That becomes you get easily risk outed, because you're like, oh, what would I, if let's say like the Dodgers are coming to town and like Freddie Freeman, like, this is how I'd pitch Freddie Freeman. If your team comes up to you and says, Freddie Freeman, this is how I'd pitch you, blah, 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 and then you see the guy starting to do it, and you're like, oh my God, he's doing exactly what they said. They said he's going to go hard in, then sliders away or whatever. He's okay. So this next one's going to be slider away. Boom.
And the thing about that is, okay, cool. You have a plan. Great. Now it's 2-0.
Right.
It's like the plan's gone, right? You have to, every scenario has an answer, and that answer is sometimes from the book. You just keep following it. Or sometimes there are things like, no, hold on a second. That guy's doing this thing now. I got to change this.
Do you know what Mason Miller's immaculate inning was?
What was that?
You remember? Do you know how Mason Miller threw his immaculate inning?
No.
9 straight sliders.
Oh, that's right. Probability, no.
I mean, it's like at some point, like your coach is screaming.
Yeah, but he did it.
It's like, why not? It's my best pitch.
Right.
Here we go. The batter's thinking he can't throw another slider.
Right. It's like the guy, John Oliver has a joke about the guy who has a record for most rattlesnakes in their mouth at like 8. And he was like at 7. He's like, I could do one more. I thought that was great. But right. So that's just I feel like these are the lost arts a little bit of the game that in so many ways we have fixed and improved, of like, what is a good 4-seamer, and not all these other, midwife tales or whatever about what it is. Like, it's this, and that's great.
We should have more games in the minor leagues where there's zero coaching.
Yes, that's a cool idea. Just know, like, hey, cool. Do what you
Nothing.
feel in it, and like figure
They
yourself out.
Zero. And so even then you can be like, oh, this is what went well and this one went bad. I wish that I knew that about that guy before I threw that to him, like then you
Right.
start to know what do I want? What do I want from my pregame routine? What do I want to know?
Exactly. Like you have to fail.
Mm.
There's a comedian. I just tried to find it and I can't I can't find the comedian, but he has a whole thing about his dad growing up. His mom would be like, "Oh no, don't do that, son, don't do that." And his father would be like, "No, wait."
Yeah. Let him do it.
Right? And I think about that because it's like, right, what is the best teacher? Failure, right? Oh, got the Yoda
Yeah.
line, but that thing existed ages ago.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
let them fail and figure it out and really understand it. And oh gosh,
Because then
there's so much of
otherwise
that.
we have what the starting pitchers are doing now, which is that they're coached so well through this. Here's your shapes, here's your arsenal, here's the thing, here's when you should throw, when you should throw it, who you should throw to, how you should throw it to. You get to the major leagues, you think that you've got everything you need, and you're like, you get your face kicked in.
Right.
You're just like, oh, this is a whole nother
It,
thing, dude.
it's just all these little things that like, okay, cool, we can find craft it. And then also what it does in the minors, it weeds out those who can't handle it.
Hmm.
It weeds out those who are unable to just take on these adjustments.
And
And
know
I
that
would
failure
want
is
to know
gonna be a
that as
big
an
part of it.
organization. Is this a
Yeah.
coachable guy? Is he going to really do those things to really take that next step? Or is it like, nah, man, I just throw these fastballs and it's great. And like the slider works and like whatever. Like, what? No.
Fastball go burr.
Yeah, right. It's oh, I don't know. I think it's just like it's right there. It's right
I think we
there.
should let's revisit it. Let's think about this
We got
because
to do
this
this.
could
Yeah.
be a whole show. I think we should revisit it, especially
Over a
maybe
food.
some August show where we don't have anything to say. Let's like prepare like a plan for each other,
Did
like
you just say the
direct us.
show when we have nothing to say, you know? Are you
We have a
joking?
direct us.
Will we
Yeah.
ever have a show that we have nothing to say?
Well, okay. One of those times of the year where there's nothing going on, or I
All
don't
right,
know.
yeah, maybe it's a good off-season one where I'll
All-Star
dress up in a
break,
suit,
all
have a
off
whiteboard,
season. Yeah.
you know? Go like
Our
this through my
we are
2020.
we are competing for director of player development at an organization, and we each give our plan.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I cannot wait for this. You heard it here first. I won't see you next week because I have an interview with CC Sabathia, everybody. And I cannot
Coming
wait.
to these airwaves right
These
here,
airwaves, that's right. I'll be talking one-on-one with CC Sabathia. So
right into your ear beans.
you just let me know what you want me to say. Okay.
Yeah,
And I
on the
won't say it.
Discords
But,
and the
just
socials.
definitely let me know. But no, I'm looking forward to that one. Then of course I'll see if Eno's agent will let me schedule him again as a guest on the show. But what do you have working on for the All-Star break?
Tomorrow is Mize versus Burns, Tale of the Tape.
Okay, Tale of the Tape.
Yeah.
What's Tale of the Tape? What is that?
I'm just putting them up against each other because they're starting against each other tomorrow. I would
Well,
figure you'd have a stream or something. You're gonna
I
watch
mean,
it.
playback's done, so
Yeah.
you know,
Well, you'll just have to watch it and
like a
put it on one of your shows. But
that sounds great. I look forward to that one. Of course, I will be doing normal things as I always do, except for
until you go on a little
This has
mini
gone
break.
on so long. I gotta go. You're great. Thank you so much for being here. You guys gotta go listening. My name is Nick Pollock. We'll talk about the craft of pitching again with CC Sabathia next week. Bye bye.
USA.